Oh, honey, you're awake? I'm sorry. If I had known, I would have said something as soon as I got home from work, but since I came home late, I just assumed you were sleeping. You were trying? Yeah, I'm sure the thunder didn't help. You took melatonin? What about the chamomile tea that I bought you? Nothing, huh? What about those ASMR videos? I know you like those. Especially that one girl, wishing well, wishy-washy. I don't know, whatever her name is. Oh no, that's not good. You have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. You're gonna be tired. Do you want a massage, or maybe I could tickle your arm until you doze off? Scooch. What can I do for you, baby? Want me to play with your hair? If only it wasn't at the expense of my fancy conditioner. You're telling me you're not the reason that half of the bottle was gone in 2 months? Uh-huh. You're already looking much more relaxed. Don't tell me you can only sleep when I'm around. How was your day? Yeah? What did you do? I appreciate you cleaning. I know I left the room a mess this morning. You washed my makeup brushes too? Wow, thank you. You're probably like, this is so disgusting. It's time to take it into my own hands. I know you're supposed to wash them every week, but come on, who really has the time to clean them weekly? You're the best, babe. One more thing to cross off my checklist. What'd you eat? Oh, nothing. I was just really looking forward to those noodles. It's fine, it's fine. I can always get more another time. Just gonna smile through the pain. Work was fine. My boss was a dick, though. Well, he asked me to scan and email some documents to a department. I did what he asked, and when he got scolded for not providing the right information, he acted like it was my fault since I sent it out. I'm like, dude, I was just doing what I was told. Sometimes I wonder how he even got this job to begin with. I'm starting to think he just showed up one day and nobody noticed. Did you see the Olympics started? I just can't wait to see the swimming. That's my favorite part. Did I tell you that I've always wanted to be a swimmer? Yeah, I did. It was my dream. But I guess dreams are called dreams for a reason. You know what I was thinking about? How cute is it that all these countries came together and were like, hey, every 4 years we should have a field day, but make it last 2 weeks. Isn't that adorable? And it's taking place in Paris. I want to go to Paris so badly. Do you think maybe we'll get to go one day together? I would love to visit one day. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to yap so much. You need to go to sleep. You want me to tell you a bedtime story? How old are you? What are you thinking? Goodnight moon? Rainbow fish? Maybe we could go more mature, like Charlotte's Web. You don't want me to read you anything? All right, let's see. Once upon a time... What? You said you didn't want me to read anything. You're very bratty when you're tired, you know that? So you don't want me to read anything, and you don't want me to make something up. So what do you want? When I realized I loved you... Let me think about this because I feel like I fell in love with you 1,000,000 times. How about I tell you everything from the beginning? When we first met. Even though I've told you this story like 18 times. Okay. Once upon a time, me, a broke college student, went to the writing lab so I could study for midterms. I remember that day. It was so hard to find somewhere to sit because everyone apparently became studious out of nowhere. And I remember walking around and my cheeks were heating up because I felt like everybody was looking at me, wandering around trying to find a seat. Then, as I felt defeated and was ready to head out, this really cute tutor said, "Excuse me, do you need somewhere to sit?" And as if my cheeks couldn't get any more red, I was blushing even harder. I tried to leave so that I could get out of there and not deal with the awkwardness. I told you, "No, it's okay. I was just getting ready to head out." And you were like, "I can pull up a chair. You can have this seat." And I swear, in that moment, I thought my heart was going to beat out of my chest. I figured, why not? I might as well, right? So I sat down and you, now that I look back on it, tried to find an excuse to talk to me. You were like, "So finals, huh? Do you need help with anything?" And my dumbass couldn't take a hint, so I was like, "No, I'm okay." Then you said something after that. I forgot. Oh yeah, you're right. You mentioned that you were there specifically for writing. Hey, you're not supposed to be helping me with the story. You're supposed to be trying to fall asleep. So I used that as an opportunity to have you look over my paper. And you did. You left me some notes on where I can improve, which I still think is bullshit because that was the most perfect paper I have ever written. But I digress. I sat there quietly next to you, fixing my paper for the next hour. It shouldn't have taken that long, but I wanted it to be perfect so that you could approve of it. Then, after I finally got your approval, I just left. I should have gotten your number. I regretted not getting your number. I remember going home and thinking, how did I fumble the cutest, smartest, most kindest person in the world? But I had decided to brush it off and go to school the next day as usual. That day was raining so hard, I forgot to bring an umbrella. I was still trying to get used to the campus, so I was running around for like an hour trying to find the student center coffee shop. And when I finally got there, I was drenched. I was wet, cold, frustrated. I almost turned around and went home, honestly, but something still told me to go inside. So I walked in, looked up, and there you were, smiling at me. And despite the chill from my wet clothes, I felt this warmth radiate through my body. And I must have looked like a sewer rat, but you didn't seem to care, so I didn't care. You waved me over, and again, that blush creeped across my cheeks. I remember you had this really cute, awkward smile, like you weren't sure if I was going to join you or not. You said something about how I looked like I was having an awful day, so you offered to buy my coffee. I don't think I ever told you this, but they actually made my order wrong that day. Yeah, I think they forgot to add the sugar. But I guess it didn't matter because I was getting enough sweetness from you. You grabbed a few napkins, and on one of them I wrote my number and said that I wasn't going to lose the opportunity to talk to you again. And I was cheesing really hard because now it was you who was blushing, so I felt a little less embarrassed. It was so cute. You couldn't look me in the eyes for more than 2 seconds at a time. And that napkin, you kept fidgeting with it. I thought it was adorable. But as the date went on, well, I know it wasn't a date, but it's okay. We could pretend it was our first date. Who's gonna know? We were talking more, and I swear by the end of it, I felt like we knew each other for years. At that point, I knew everything about your childhood, your favorite color, your trauma. And you had fidgeted with that napkin so much that I thought my number was gone because you were just going at it with those fingers. But we stayed there at the student center until we were the last two. We didn't realize that it was time to leave until they started dimming all the lights. Then, when we went home, you didn't hesitate to reach out to me. And then after that, I think we just both kind of knew. And now look at us. Here we are, all cozied up. I know that the honeymoon phase and butterflies don't last forever. But I swear they come back every time I tell this story. I feel like that same girl who walked into the writing lab that day. That was such a good day. Right, babe? Aww. Is someone finally sleeping? I want you to remember that no matter what, I'll always be here for you. Through the good days and the bad, the thunderstorms and the sunny skies, I'll always be by your side. You are my perfect person, and I love you so much. Good night, baby. I'll see you in your dreams.